Alright, let me set the context for today's video. Today we have Swole from Moonwalk. Moonwalk is a walk to earn crypto application where you get rewarded with crypto based on the number of steps that you're taking in a day. How do you go from running a non-crypto agency into the Web3 world? Swole has also been super active in the Ven and Bonk coin ecosystem, so we'll understand his journey over there as well. As always, we have a $1,000 bounty. The bounty is for a accountability as a service application, a mobile application where you can come, pool in money with your friends, let's say $300 each, and have a goal by the end of it, let's say 500 steps a day. The people who hit the goal get their money back, and the people who don't, they get the money from the other participants. So it's like a battle application where you battle for accountability. Accountability could be in terms of the number of steps that you're taking, the number of push-ups that you're doing, the number of hours that you're coding, and in the end, the winner takes it all. Linked in the description is a detailed requirement doc for the application. I hope to see a few of you on the bounty, and with that, let's get into the pod.
How do you prevent people from gaming the metrics?
We have definitely people arriving to...
Is there anything specifically very challenging in building something like this? Or is this more of a Web2 challenge and a smart contract on top?
Well, the smart contract is very simple. It's essentially escrow, but it is challenging because...
You mentioned you see a lot of analytics data, but also you're training your own models, right?
It's such a buzzword right now. AI and everything.
How do you build the mindset within your team, especially the engineering team? It's not. One would imagine that it's not easy to put your heart and soul into building that entire feature.
It's a spiritual experience.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the OnyDevs Podcast with Swolsol. Swole is currently the CTO of Moonwalk. He has worked on several of the most impactful projects in Solana, from Bonk to MEMECOIN to Golfin. It's so great to have you here, Swole.
Oh, great to be here. Awesome to be here. I love that there's a room for us devs, the people behind the curtain. Yeah.
Yep.
It's good to be here. Thank you.
Would love to know your background, Swole. Seems like you've worked on a lot of things, starting off from, Bonk, which is one of the biggest meme coins today. So what's your story there? What happened? How did you move to Ven? Would love to know about that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So, I started doing design and programming, the left brain, right brain at the same time, one man shop, as a hobby. I was just very interested in software, technology, web apps, web applications. The hobby ended up becoming an agency in the United States, and ended up with very large customers, customers that Fortune 500 customers and employees, and I started a corporation, and have provided consultation to very famous companies and also nonprofit organizations. And then Web3 came around, and I was like, what's this? Because I was already a trader by hobby, just, getting into finance, and also getting into art, because art is fantastic. So the first wave was the NFT world. So I was like, oh, wow, this is art, it's finance, and it's cryptography and programming. This is amazing. So I took a risk. I took my company to Web3. I said, you know what? This is cool. Let's go over here. No customers, nothing. And started working on various NFT projects like Cyber Samurai and Quex, and bunch of things that people will call rug, whatever, but they weren't rug. They're just, we tried. And then, one thing led to another, and I ended up doing some consultation with the Bonk team. And that led to an idea of, it's like, hey, how do we give back to the world? How do we do something that's really interesting, that's not just like a DeFi project where where you arrive and you trade and you short or you go long, or like, I mean, those are cool too. I do those also, but how do we do something that like my neighbor could use that's on Web3 or even my mom? And how do we improve the world and people's mental health and your physique? So that's where we came up with Moonwalk Fitness. So we were like, okay, let's do this. We need to give back. Like, huge success with Bonk, fantastic. But like, what are we going to do with that? And so with Bonk's help and lots of devs, lots of dev work, and we'll get into that. We created Moonwalk Fitness, which is a fitness app built on top of Solana. It's a game where you get your friends together and you all deposit. If you do your steps, you get your money back at the end of the game, which already is pretty cool because that's like accountability to yourself. Like, I'm going to do my fitness and I'll get my deposit back at the end. If some of your friends don't do the goal for any given day, there's a deduction, and the winners of the game split the deduction. So like, there's actually there's a profit to it, profit aspect. And that was like already really interesting. It's like, wait a minute, we just created yield without anything weird, without any like Ponzi economics, tokenomics, without inflationomics, without paying for it as an entity. Like, this literally is a smart contract. There's no centralized authority paying people. The friends are paying each other. I was like, well, this is amazing. Like, I mean, it's already marketed and it's really to really help people and their fitness and stay accountable to their goals. But then there's also a profit aspect to it. And it's just like when I came to NFTs, I was like, oh, wow, art, finance, programming, perfect. Now it's fitness, finance, motivation, mental health, all that. And so, yeah, Moonwalk, we launched this thing, we put it on Solana. It's doing great. We have huge goals for it. We're very early. We just launched our app. We already have 108,000 users. And it's pretty cool because the third most requested country to our servers is India. And I imagine that in India, there's quite a few people that want fitness, finance, and who walk a lot. Maybe not in the middle of summer, but walking can be done also on a treadmill too. But anyways, that's kind of like my story and how I got to Moonwalk. I'm also, because I'm also the CEO of an agency that's still running, I'm also running other projects as well, and lead tech advisor for another really cool project called 𝗜𝗺𝗺, which is also built on Solana, and it's taken the game of golf and it's adding rewards. And this will come out in April. We're doing some fun things for the MEMECOIN. We're building AI agent, which is basically all of Meta right now. And AI is super fun. It's just like, where is this going to go? It's awesome. And, close to my heart is Bonk. I am involved on the dev side for many things. There's lots of devs for Bonk. Like, I'm not the dev for Bonk. I'm just one of the contributors. Yes, there you go. I'm rambling. That's like kind of like the history where we are today, and lots of topics there that I'm happy to go deeper into.
Yeah, I mean, before we dive in, I really have to thank you for Bonk. I think it came in a time when, the entire Solana ecosystem were going through the worst kind of pain possible post FTX. It came as a, breath of fresh air and a morale boost for a lot of the devs. I was also one of the devs who received it, though I paper handed it like, fairly soon. But yeah, this is something my wife always keeps telling me about. You literally just paper handed a house.
Well, if you think about it, you actually did the smart thing, because most of the time that's the right thing to do. But yeah, you never know. Well, yeah, oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Sheikh.
Yeah, so speaking of Moonwalk, right? It's kind of fascinating what the maturity has been from the last cycle to this. Last cycle we saw, play to earn with Taxi, and then from play to earn we came into this place where, you can now do walk to earn with step in and so on. And now it's actually, you kind of got to do the actual, you actually have to not just game this, but actually take care of your fitness, right? So I imagine, how do you prevent people from like gaming the metrics? For example, let's say you want to get like 30,000 steps. Like, how do you actually know that, these 30,000 steps came from our actual steps, or, they just put it on a bike or something?
Yeah, no, cheaters. Yeah. So, we have, we have definitely people arriving to farm because they think, oh, Bonk, and they're also receiving funding from Binance. Oh, let's get our rewards. So they're setting up multiple accounts, and we see all the data. Don't they understand? We see the data. Like, it's going to be hard for them in the long run to outsmart a dev team that sees everything. Like, so, in the very beginning, we just actually let it run because, we're training our models to understand, for the detection. And, a little bit of word of mouth right now can't hurt. We're just trying to build it up. And if people are telling their friends, oh, something's coming, you should do this, go get a device or whatever, like, a little bit of that buzz is okay as long as we're monitoring it and we don't let it affect the optics of the game and the rewards at the end. And so people are getting flagged. I mean, it's people are boasting about cheating on Twitter and they're posting it and like wondering why they're flagged like 2 seconds later. Like, I don't know. It's just going to be there. It's going to be like X percentage of people are trying to take advantage, especially in the, degen world. It's just part of this culture. Our goal is really to make it like, 95% pure. Yeah.
You mentioned like you see a lot of analytics data, but also you're training your own models, right? Like,
Yeah.
If that is something that if you would like to talk about, we could just go a little bit deeper into it.
Yeah. So, I mean, right. It's such a buzzword right now. AI and everything. At the very beginning, you're just trying to gather the inputs, and, before AI is just one big switch statement, right? You don't need AI for that. You could dump all the data into, a Postgres database and do it the old way. But what we're looking at is, how do we use some of these open source models to come up with the answer for us without a very large switch statement? And it's all in experimental phase. We're really excited about the open source projects that are out there. Obviously, 𝗼𝗺 is very interesting. It gives developers like us very easy access with TypeScript to training the models, and then the plugins and the ways that, it's I feel like 𝗼𝗺 OS is really the future connection for Web3 Solana, and not just Solana, to get involved with the all the new technology that's coming out, until like, how are we exactly using it in Moonwalk right now? It's R&D. We're just As long as we can record that, that's it. I mean, I don't know if you've probably tried to work with models yourselves. If you give like 20 inputs to your model, I mean, you have garbage. Like it's AI doesn't know how to invent content. It can only create content or answers by context. And the more context, like if you train it 20 things, 200 things, 2,000 things, okay, now we're talking about something. So it's like a dog can bark, but if you want it to do tricks, like you need to train it, right? And so that, I mean, that's it. And that's like this year is obviously, or this last year, or this part of the year before presidential memes is AI meta, right? So we're as devs, you have to pay attention to that. I have some friends, that are here in the same city that I live in that are behind the Griffin project, and so like we're all just talking and just exploring and sharing a little bit of info with each other and trying to expand this, see where it can go, right?
Very cool. So for something like Moonwalk, I'm assuming there's not a lot of, like, considering you've run an agency, it's not a lot of challenges. Like, it's probably one smart contract that everyone's hitting. And other than that, it's a mobile application and a web application. Shake left, I don't know what happened there. But is there anything specifically very challenging in building something like this? Or is this more of a Web2 challenge and a smart contract on top?
Well, the smart contract is very simple. It's essentially escrow, but it is challenging because we feel like we're doing something that hasn't been done. We're trying to give a DApp to your mom. So your mom doesn't know what a token account is, doesn't know what gas is, doesn't know what failed transactions are, doesn't know any of these things. And, I feel like the water's gotten warmer and warmer, and we've all gotten used to all sorts of friction and crap, but you can't really put a mainstream through. So this is the challenge of Moonwalk, getting your mom to use a DApp.
Got it.
Yeah.
So does that involve?
That's.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
On that note, I saw that you guys launched your mobile app. Like I was able to try out the Moonwalk app in its test flight. So first of all, great experience. How do you, speaking about taking these applications, especially, something like a fitness tracker, it's extremely mainstream. Everybody walks and everybody would want to be healthy, right? So how do you make decisions around product experiences, or how do you prioritize what feature to ship out? Because when you're building a normal consumer product, you have like a clear path laid out for you, a clear set of questions for you to ask. So I'm curious to understand from you, since you're not only with Moonwalk but also with Goldman, like it's like very broad-based consumer experiences, right? So how do you think about product development in these contexts, especially making it mainstream?
Well, it's inspired by Web2 for sure. Like, building products and features it's the old story, but it's different because there's some trailblazing. Like, we feel like we are trying to push the boundary of what's possible for consumer apps. Our goal is that the Solana blockchain is just behind the scenes. You don't even know that it's there. Like it's just the tech, and then you have a very fluid experience. inside the app, and it feels like any app that you would expect. And so that means all of the features are regular Web 2 concepts and regular product development. And then it's like up for the dev team, to like go, like, how do we make this work? And you can't think of it like, what's the possibility of Solana and then build a product? You got to go the other way. How do we get people to move their ass every day? and what inspires them to get that achievement badge? Or, that's it. Like we need to look to the people before us who've done very good jobs, like Duolingo and Strava. And that's where we're going. People say, oh, is this like STEPN? I'm like, yeah, you're competing, there's crypto element, but like, no, we want you to compare it to a Web 2 app, not to a Web 3 app. So, that's the challenge, but it's also speaks to that, like how do we go about our features? We have people on our team that aren't Web 3 devs that are brainstorming features. That's the trick, right? Like we are going to think of it like differently. We're going to be like, oh no, we can only have certain amount of instructions per transaction. And, we're going to like approach it totally different. Like you just welcome someone to the room that is like just pure Web 2. And that's how you approach this.
That's actually great insight. I'm curious to understand it for, as you constructed your team. What is this like a core guiding principle for you? That is like the problem statement is the main thing and everybody comes on or in service of that.
Yeah. So we have a small team. We have, 𝗼𝗺𝗺𝗀, who's he's not a dev, and he's on the team. He's an idea guy, and that's what we want. We want him to remain objective. We want him to visualize where this could go. We also have Caitlin. She's engaging with real people all the time and can get the feedback from the users, and that's it. Like, as smart as we think we are, no, like the customer is right. Like, you can't waterfall your way into success. You have to sprint your way to success. And so, that's the cheesy thing, and people do agile and all this stuff, but it really works. Like, we can only see 2 weeks at a time. So we throw it all into sprints, and we're adapting and changing as we go. And it's not how you start, it's how you adapt, right? Like, the very first Instagram was not even called Instagram, it was called Bourbon, and it had like 10 features, and photo filters was like buried down. It was like one feature. And then they look at the data and they're like, whoa, this is what everyone's using. How much time did it take their devs to make the 9 other features? It was probably their highest priority. They scrapped it and just went with the most popular feature. TikTok was Musical.ly. Musical.ly was a pretty complicated, big, huge thing, way more than what TikTok ended up. So I can't tell you what Moonwalk's going to look like in 6 months. We're not waterfalling here. We are, we're going to adapt and build as we go. And you just have to never be satisfied. Like, you mentioned you're on test flight. Like, test flights are happening every day. We're releasing test flights every single day. And, and that's, you just never satisfied, always make it better. You're fixing bugs, you're adding features, you're trying to break it, you're trying to remain cynical, you're trying to remain objective, and know that you haven't earned anything. Just keep going. Like you might pivot one day, like, wait a minute, let's do this instead. Like stuff like that can happen for sure.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think I have one more follow-up question to that. I think this is like so true for building consumer apps, especially, I would probably put it like largely consumer, somewhere in the category of consumer social, right? Like you need millions and millions of users, a lot of DAUs. If you don't, so the journey towards that is like, paved with a ton of abandoned features or, a ton of engineering work that gets shelved. So I'm curious to hear about like, how do you build the mindset within your team, especially the engineering team? It's not, one would imagine that it's not easy to put your heart and soul into building that entire feature, because you're also working on a crunch time, right? You want to get this feature out as quickly as possible so that you test it. So, especially the reason I'm asking this question is especially for younger engineers who want to work at like hyperscale startups, how should they think about, putting so much amount of effort into building a feature that might so happen, that might just get shelved?
Yeah, I mean, it's a spiritual experience. Like it's like impermanence. Like impermanence is real. You put your best effort, you build, you make magic, but you know what? Like just look at how often you have to upgrade your laptops and your phones. Like the cables don't even work from X years ago. Like all these tech companies are just like, oh my God, we just spent all this money on USB and now it's USB-C, and like you have to break it and make it better all the time. And I mean, that's every single day it's different. Like, I don't know what challenges are going to happen today. Every day's like technology is changing every single day. and you can't ever, you're never content in development and programming. And, developers out there are attracted to programming because they're like, oh, I can make money doing programming. But you have to realize, like, you have to love problem solving for the problem solving part of it, right? You're not putting trophies on your wall. Every single day is a new problem. Like, why does my NPM not build? Oh, I wasn't expecting that today. Like, why are the transactions on Solana not landing today? Wasn't expecting that. Every day is unknown. Every moment is unknown.
That makes sense. Yeah, I agree. I think as a developer, 90% of my code hasn't really touched production ever. So it's like part of being a developer, as knowing your code will get migrated, depreciated, or never reach prod. I'm interested to know. You mentioned you're building a very Web2 experience, so that my mother can use it. Are they expected to have a Phantom wallet, or are you guys doing private key management on your side?
Yeah, so we're trying to mirror, like, I don't think I can look at TikTok today, but maybe you can. But if you go to the login page, you'll see continue with they just have all the login options. And so that was our approach too. Instead of forcing someone to Phantom or to phone number or email, or we just try to have as many as possible. And so the way we've divided it is internal wallets versus external wallets. External wallets are Phantom, Solflare, Backpack, and the TipLink wallet, which is connected to a Google account. The internal wallets are email, phone, and Apple ID and Google, and they're using 𝗵𝗺. Yeah. So we don't manage which is great. 𝗵𝗺 is just fantastic. They already made a huge name for themselves in the ETH world. They came over to Solana just last year. Moonwalk was one of the first beta testers of the Solana product, and of course, 𝗵𝗺 is they were behind Friendtech, so they have a very good reputation, and it's honestly really easy for a dev to connect to it. There's a fantastic SDK, and it just works out of the box, which is rare these days. Web3 development it's so new that there's like bugs. There's like a lot of platforms you connect with. You can just tell that it doesn't have that Web 2 polish, right? Like, imagine connecting to Stripe. You would be surprised if there was a bug, right? It feels professional. In Web3, it's like anything is possible, and when we tried 𝗵𝗺, it was actually a kind of like a Stripe-like experience. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, that makes sense. I think every team we've talked to who are doing wallet as a service are using 𝗵𝗺 or Web3 or one of these under the hood. So
yeah. And there's other fantastic companies. We're using 𝗵𝗺. The cool thing about Moonwalk is you don't have to be loyal to your wallet. We can add additional options onto our list.
got it.
That's awesome. I think embedded wallets are one of those critical, kind of these friction layers. If they did not exist, you can't really make it easy for, people like my mom to use the app. I think they're really good, and 𝗵𝗺 is a great product.
Yeah. So when we started Moonwalk, 𝗵𝗺 wasn't on Solana, and we tested some other products that were really good. They were like 80% there, but you can tell they were still working on it as well. But this goes back to our previous conversation. We want an app that works for your mom. The dev team's going, but it doesn't exist. Well, it does now, right? Like, yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get my mom to use Moonwalk now. Gonna put it on her phone.
Let's go. Yeah. That's amazing.
Awesome. Okay. Switching gears, like we're almost towards the end. We are entering the end stage of our podcast. So one thing that I would love to, are you hiring for any roles that are close to, I think they're close to 500K subscribers that are going to be watching this. So a lot of devs, if you're hiring for any roles, we could put it out there.
I mean, we're always looking for talent. I'm always looking for talent. I run an software agency as well, and consult on many projects. I'm very easy to find. I'm Swolsol on Telegram. I'm Swolsol on Twitter. Follow me, DM me. I'm not actively looking for a specific role. I just love to build relationships, with people. And if it's not for me, it's like, it's expanding our network. This is an amazing opportunity. And for devs out there, like, if you want to be a Toy Story toy on a shelf next to a million other toys that all say, I do React, go ahead. But if you get into Web3, you're going to be the special toy that everybody wants. And because this is an emerging industry, it's still the ground floor. It's still so much upside. the world, this is the future right now. And so, this is the time to make all your contacts. Reach out to me. I'll be one of your contacts, but, don't stop there. Talk to people. Don't be shy. That's how you're going to get your next role in some really cool project.
That's great. I think that's a great note to end the podcast on. It was very nice talking to you, Swol. If you don't mind,
Thank you.
do you mind jamming for us a bit? I don't think me and Sheikh play at all. But if you have a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We are happy to keep our guitar in the screen for one
Why do all devs have guitars near their desks? Yeah, just you gotta have a guitar. You have to do hobbies. Like, we're programming all the time and we're chasing after those problems. Remember we said that? Like, it's very addictive. It's like, okay, next problem. And what? It's 8:00 at night? Oh, wait, one more problem to solve. Wait. You gotta, like, enjoy life too. Like, you gotta play guitar. You gotta go for a walk. You gotta get your exercise. Whatever makes you happy, right?
What a great note.
That's awesome. Right. Thank you so much for joining us. So
amazing.
We could post one with the guitar for the thumbnail.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah. Wait. Oh, this is for the, yeah. All right. Wait, same position. All right, let's go. LFG. All right. Thank you. All right. Take care.
Awesome.
All right. Enjoy. Thank you. Appreciate y'all. All right. I'm out. Swolsol out.
Thank you so much, Swol.